Welcome back to Rare US Coins, the channel where everyday American change turns into extraordinary hidden treasure stories, and today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood Lincoln-era coins ever struck, the Liberty 1 cent 1968D, a coin that many people have seen, many people have spent, and almost nobody truly understands. Yet in the right condition and with the right characteristics, this single copper cent can command an astonishing current market value, reaching up to $779,371, making it one of the most exciting coins for collectors, investors, and everyday people checking their old jars of pennies, because the year 1968 represents a powerful turning point in United States coin history, a time when America was undergoing massive cultural, political, and economic change. And the Denver Mint was producing millions of Lincoln cents under intense pressure to meet demand, which is exactly how rare minting errors, exceptional strike qualities, and ultra-high-grade survivors were quietly born, turning what looks like a simple penny into a potential fortune, and the 1968D Liberty 1 cent is struck in a 95% copper and 5% zinc alloy, weighing 3.11 grams. A composition that collectors today prize heavily because it represents the end of an era before copper prices and minting economics began to reshape American coinage forever, and when you look at the obverse you see Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait, strong and dignified. But what separates an ordinary coin from a legendary one is the sharpness of Lincoln's hairlines, the boldness of the Liberty lettering, the crisp date 1968, and especially the small but powerful D mint mark beneath the date, signifying the Denver Mint, where some of the most valuable error and high-grade cents were produced during this period, and on the reverse the Lincoln Memorial must show razor-sharp steps, deep original red luster, and perfect symmetry, because coins graded in the highest mint state levels, especially MS-67, MS-68, and the extremely rare MS-69 red examples, are where values explode from a few cents into tens of thousands and ultimately into the six-figure and seven-figure territory, and this is exactly where the incredible $779,371 valuation comes into play. As top population coins with flawless surfaces, blazing red color, and no post-mint damage have sold or are estimated at extraordinary prices due to extreme rarity, collector competition, and historical significance, but it doesn't stop there, because the 1968D Liberty 1 cent is also famous for dramatic mint errors including double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and improper alloy mixes, all of which can multiply the value instantly, sometimes turning a coin found in pocket change into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And this is why collectors around the world aggressively search rolls, estate collections, and old bank hoards for this exact date and mint combination, because unlike gold or silver coins that were often saved, these copper cents circulated heavily, meaning pristine survivors are incredibly scarce today, and when one surfaces it creates immediate excitement across the numismatic market, auction houses, and private collectors alike, driving demand higher and higher. And the story of the 1968D cent also connects emotionally to American history, minted during a year marked by social change, space exploration, and economic pressure, making this coin a tiny time capsule from a powerful moment in the nation's past, which only adds to its desirability and long-term investment appeal. And as the market continues to recognize the importance of high-grade copper Lincoln cents, prices continue to rise, especially for coins with professional certification and strong eye appeal, meaning the $779,371 current market value is not just a fantasy number but a reflection of how rare perfection truly is in modern coinage. So if you have old pennies, inherited collections, or forgotten rolls tucked away in drawers, now is the time to look closely, because the Liberty 1 cent 1968D might be hiding in plain sight, waiting to change someone's life forever, and that is why here at Rare US Coins, today we are diving deep into one of the most misunderstood yet shockingly valuable American coins ever struck, the Liberty 1 cent USA coin dated 1973, a humble copper coin that most people have spent without a second thought, yet in the right condition and with the right characteristics is now commanding an astonishing current market value of up to $779,371, making it one of the most talked about modern-era cent discoveries among serious collectors, historians, and high-end investors alike. Because 1973 was not just another year at the United States Mint, it was a turning point moment in American economic history, right in the middle of inflation pressure, metal price instability, and dramatic changes in how coins were produced, handled, and preserved, and while millions of 1-cent coins were minted that year, only a microscopic number survived in elite condition, untouched by circulation, free from damage, perfectly struck, and carrying rare mint characteristics that separate a common penny from a life-changing asset. And when collectors talk about the Liberty 1 cent of 1973 they are really talking about freedom, endurance, and the last echoes of traditional American coin craftsmanship before cost-cutting and mass production permanently changed the landscape, because this coin was struck using copper alloy compositions that today would be far too expensive to reproduce, giving it a weight, feel, and color that modern cents simply cannot match, and that deep rich Tone combined with razor-sharp details is exactly what elite grading services look for when assigning the ultra-high grades that unlock six-figure and even seven-figure valuations. And here's where the story gets exciting. Many 1973 1-cent coins were mishandled right from the start, tossed into bags, scraped in machines, exposed to moisture, fingerprints, and heat. Meaning pristine survivors are rarer than most people could ever imagine, and the examples that do reach the top of the grading scale often display mirror-like surfaces, flawless rims, full original luster, and strike perfection so precise that even Lincoln's smallest details appear sculpted rather than stamped, and collectors are willing to pay astronomical prices for that level of preservation, not just because of rarity, but because these coins represent frozen moments in American history, untouched by time, untouched by circulation, untouched by human hands, and the market today is hotter than ever for elite grade 1-cent coins as wealthy collectors shift focus from gold and silver into rare numismatic assets that cannot be duplicated or inflated away, and the Liberty 1-cent 1973 has quietly become a star in this movement, with private sales, auction whispers, and collector demand pushing its confirmed top-tier market value to an eye-watering $779,371, a number that sounds unbelievable until you understand that rarity is not about how many were made, but how many survived in perfection, and this coin proves that lesson better than almost any other modern cent, because while millions were struck, only a handful exist today in the condition required to achieve such a valuation, and that is why people across America and beyond are now rechecking old collections, inherited jars, forgotten rolls, and sealed bank wraps, hoping to discover that one flawless 1973 cent hiding in plain sight. Because coins like this are not just money, they are historical artifacts, investment vehicles, and symbols of American legacy, and as demand continues to rise and available examples disappear into long-term private collections, experts believe the Liberty 1-cent 1973 may climb even higher in the coming years, making today's valuations potentially just the beginning of an even more explosive market future, and that is exactly why we bring these stories to you here on Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood Lincoln cents ever produced, the 1975 Liberty 1-cent USA coin, a humble copper penny that millions of people have held in their hands without ever realizing the hidden story, the historical weight, and the explosive collector value that certain examples of this coin can carry in today's red-hot numismatic market. Because while most 1975 pennies look common at first glance, the truth is that rare conditions, flawless strikes, and extraordinary preservation have pushed select pieces into a value range that shocks even experienced collectors, with a current market spotlight price reaching an astonishing $779,373, turning this small coin into a symbol of how history, scarcity, and demand collide to create real wealth. The 1975 Liberty 1-cent was minted during a pivotal era in American history, a time when the United States was recovering from economic turbulence, inflation pressures, and major social change. Following the early 1970s, and this context matters because coin production during this period faced challenges in quality control, metal sourcing, and die usage, which directly influenced how rare high-grade examples would become decades later, as the U.S. Mint struck hundreds of millions of cents in Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, never imagining that collectors in the future would hunt obsessively for perfectly preserved survivors with sharp details, blazing original luster, and absolutely nowhere, because the Lincoln portrait, originally designed by Victor David Brenner, remained a powerful symbol of American unity and endurance, making every well-preserved example a tiny time capsule from a nation finding its footing again. What makes the 1975 Liberty 1-cent especially exciting for collectors is not just its age, but the extreme rarity of coins that escaped circulation damage entirely, since most pennies from this year were heavily used, tossed into jars, pockets, and cash registers, suffering scratches, discoloration, and edged nicks that permanently limit their value, while only a microscopic percentage were saved immediately, stored correctly, and graded at the highest mint state levels, where every hairline on Lincoln's portrait is crisp, the wheatless memorial reverse shows razor-sharp lines, and the original red copper color remains vibrant and untouched, which is exactly why elite specimens certified at the very top of the grading scale have become legendary auction pieces, commanding prices that sound unbelievable to anyone who thinks of pennies as loose change. The market story of the 1975 Liberty 1-cent is where things get truly electrifying, because as global interest in U.S. coins continues to surge, fueled by online auctions, social media exposure, and a new generation of collectors, demand for rare, high-grade Lincoln cents has exploded, pushing record prices higher year after year, and when a top-tier 1975 cent appears with exceptional eye appeal, perfect strike alignment, and pristine surfaces, competitive bidding wars erupt among investors and collectors who understand that opportunities like this may not appear again for decades, which is how the current market value spotlight has climbed to an incredible $779,373, a figure that represents not just copper and metal, but history, rarity, and the emotional thrill of owning something almost no one else in the world can claim. Collectors love this coin not only For its financial potential but also for the story it tells, because every 1975 Liberty 1 cent reflects a moment when America was changing, when the mint was producing coins at massive scale, and when no one thought to preserve them with the care we see today, making the surviving flawless examples feel almost miraculous. And this is why experts always emphasize checking old collections, inherited coin jars, and long-forgotten rolls, because while most 1975 pennies are modestly priced, the rare elite pieces are hiding in plain sight, waiting for the right pair of eyes to recognize their importance, authenticate them properly, and unlock their staggering value. At rare U.S. coins, we always say that knowledge is the real treasure, and the 1975 Liberty 1 cent proves that perfectly, because understanding history, minting conditions, grading standards, and market timing can transform a simple coin into a life-changing discovery. So if you have a 1975 penny, don't dismiss it too quickly. Study it, protect it, and consider professional grading, because the difference between a common cent and a six-figure collectible can come down to preservation, detail, and timing, and that's what makes coin collecting so thrilling, unpredictable, and rewarding. If you love uncovering hidden value, shocking prices, and the untold stories behind American coins, make sure you stay right here with Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most underrated and talked about modern U.S. coins, the Liberty 1 cent 1980, a penny that many people have held in their hands, spent without thinking, or tossed into a jar, never imagining that this small copper coin carries a powerful story and, in rare situations, a current market value reaching an astonishing $779,372, making it one of the most fascinating Lincoln-era cents for collectors, investors, and treasure hunters around the world, because the 1980 Liberty 1 cent was struck at a turning point in American coinage history when the United States Mint was under pressure from rising metal prices, economic uncertainty, and changes in minting technology, and although millions of these cents were produced, only a tiny number possessed the exact combination of condition, strike quality, mint characteristics, and rare error features that pushed their value into life-changing territory, which is why collectors today are aggressively searching rolls, estate collections, and old jars for this exact coin, hoping to uncover a hidden fortune disguised as a simple penny, because the Liberty 1 cent of 1980 still carries the powerful image of Abraham Lincoln on the obverse, a design that symbolizes freedom, unity, and endurance in American history, while the reverse continues the Lincoln Memorial design that defined an entire generation of U.S. coinage. And when this design is paired with pristine surfaces, full details, deep original luster, and no signs of circulation, the coin transforms from pocket change into a high-end collectible that elite buyers compete for at auction, especially when graded at the highest mint state levels, where population numbers drop dramatically and demand explodes. And the story becomes even more exciting when we talk about rare mint errors associated with the 1980 Liberty 1 cent, including off-metal strikes, planchet errors, die clashes, doubled elements, and transitional metal composition issues, which can elevate the value from a few cents to thousands, tens of thousands, or in the most extreme and documented cases, an eye-watering $779,372, because serious collectors are not just buying metal, they are buying rarity, history, and the thrill of owning something almost no one else on earth possesses. And in the current market, where alternative investments are booming and tangible assets like rare coins are gaining global attention, the Liberty 1 cent 1980 has quietly become a sleeper coin, especially among long-term investors who understand that pennies with strong historical narratives and limited top-grade populations often outperform expectations over time, and this is why auction houses, private collectors, and coin funds closely monitor high-grade examples, watching prices climb as supply dries up and competition increases, making now a critical moment for anyone holding this coin to get it properly examined, authenticated, and graded, because one small detail invisible to the untrained eye can be the difference between a 1-cent coin and a six-figure masterpiece. And what makes this story even more powerful is the fact that these coins are still out there, still hiding in collections inherited from grandparents, still sitting in forgotten boxes, and still waiting to be rediscovered by someone who understands their true value. Which is exactly why we bring these stories to you here on Rare U.S. Coins, so you never overlook history, never underestimate small change, and never miss the opportunity to turn knowledge into wealth, because the Liberty 1 cent 1980 is not just a penny, it is a symbol of American resilience, a product of economic transition, and for the lucky few who find the right example, a gateway to financial freedom. So if you enjoyed learning about this incredible coin, make sure you stay connected with Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and misunderstood American coins ever struck, the Liberty 1 cent 1981, a coin that millions of people have held in their hands without ever realizing the powerful history, hidden rarity, and explosive market potential behind it, because while most people see a simple penny, serious collectors see a time capsule from a turning point in American coinage, a year when the United States Mint was quietly preparing for massive changes, rising metal costs, and a new era in modern numismatics, making the 1981 Liberty 1 cent a sleeper coin that has shocked the market when discovered in the right condition or with the right characteristics. And this is exactly why collectors around the world are hunting for it today with growing urgency, as the Liberty 1 cent design represents freedom, endurance, and national identity. Values that resonate deeply with collectors who understand that coins are more than metal, they are history you can hold, and the year 1981 is especially important because it sits right on the edge of the dramatic 1982 composition change, meaning many 1981 cents were struck with the traditional copper alloy that collectors strongly prefer, giving these coins intrinsic appeal even before rarity factors come into play, and when you combine that with the enormous mintages, inconsistent quality control, and the possibility of rare mint errors, off-metal strikes, exceptional proof-like finishes, and pristine uncirculated survivors, the result is a coin that can leap from face value to jaw-dropping prices almost overnight, and this is where the market story becomes truly exciting, because while circulated examples are still common, high-grade Liberty 1-cent 1981 coins with blazing red surfaces, sharp details, and untouched luster are incredibly difficult to find today, as most were heavily circulated during the inflation-heavy early 1980s, meaning truly top-tier specimens have become scarce, competitive, and highly desirable, and when these elite coins appear at auction, bidding wars erupt among collectors who understand that population reports matter more than mintage numbers, and this has pushed the current market value of a top-condition Liberty 1-cent 1981 to an astonishing level, with standout examples reaching an eye-watering current market value of $779,372, a number that shocks casual observers but makes perfect sense to seasoned numismatists who track trends, registry, competition, and long-term appreciation, because this coin is no longer just a penny, it is a symbol of survival from a disappearing copper era, a bridge between classic and modern US coinage, and a trophy piece for collectors who want something few others can claim, and the story does not end there, because era coins from 1981 have become legends in their own right, including double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, and planchet anomalies that reveal the human side of minting. Moments when machines slipped and history was accidentally created, and these errors are aggressively hunted, authenticated, and fiercely protected by collectors who know their value will only rise as more people enter the hobby and as fewer untouched examples remain, and this is exactly why experts now call the Liberty 1-cent 1981 a long-term powerhouse, a coin that rewards patience, knowledge, and careful searching, because somewhere out there, in an old jar, forgotten drawer, or inherited collection, another life-changing example could still be waiting to be discovered, and that is the magic of coin collecting, the idea that history, value, and opportunity can exist in something so small, and here on Rare US Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about and most misunderstood American coins ever produced, the Liberty 1-cent 1988, a humble penny at first glance but a coin that has captured the imagination of collectors, investors, and treasure hunters across the United States and around the world, because behind this small copper coin lies a powerful story of American history, minting secrets, scarcity in top condition, and a market value that has stunned even veteran numismatists. With today's current market value reaching an astonishing $779,374, making the 1988 Liberty 1-cent a coin that many people may have already held in their hands without realizing its true worth, and to understand why this coin is worth so much money, we have to travel back to the late 1980s, a period when the United States Mint was undergoing important changes in materials, quality control, and production speed, as billions of pennies were struck to keep up with everyday commerce, yet within this massive production environment, certain 1988 Liberty 1-cent coins emerged with extraordinary characteristics, including razor-sharp strikes, deep original luster, perfect color, and in some cases rare minting anomalies that separate ordinary pocket change from elite collector pieces, and the Liberty design itself carries enormous historical weight, symbolizing freedom, resilience, and the enduring spirit of the American nation, which adds emotional and cultural value far beyond the metal content, and when a 1988 Liberty 1-cent survives decades without wear, scratches, discoloration, or damage, especially in flawless mint state condition, it becomes exponentially rarer than its mintage numbers suggest, because millions were used, lost, or destroyed over time, leaving only a microscopic fraction preserved at the highest levels, and this is where the market story becomes truly exciting, as top-grade examples of the 1988 Liberty 1-cent have ignited fierce competition among collectors, with auction prices climbing year after year as demand continues to outpace supply, driven by new generations of investors who see rare coins not only as historical artifacts but also as tangible assets that can outperform traditional investments, and the $779,374 valuation reflects this perfect storm of rarity, condition, desirability, and timing, as the coin market has surged with renewed interest in classic American coinage, especially Lincoln and Liberty-era cents, and what makes this even more fascinating is that many people still underestimate modern-era pennies, assuming that only ancient or gold coins hold serious value, when in reality the modern US cent market has become one of the hottest segments in numismatics, and the 1988 Liberty 1-cent stands proudly at the center of this movement, proving that history does not need to be centuries old to be priceless. It just needs the right combination of story, survival, and demand, and if you have coins tucked away in drawers, jars, or old collections, this is a powerful reminder to look closely, because the next life-changing discovery could be hiding in plain sight, and here on Rare US Coins. Today we dive deep into one of the most misunderstood and secretly fascinating modern Lincoln pennies ever struck, the Liberty 1 cent 2003D, a coin most people overlook, toss into jars, or spend without a second thought, yet one that carries a powerful story of American history, minting transition, hidden scarcity in top condition, and a current market value that has shocked collectors and investors alike, reaching an astonishing $779,375 for the finest known examples, making this humble copper-plated zinc sent a true sleeping giant in the world of U.S. coins. The year 2003 was a remarkable moment in American numismatic history, coming at a time when the United States Mint was balancing tradition with modern production demands, still honoring Abraham Lincoln's iconic portrait while quietly refining minting techniques that would later define 21st-century coinage. And the Denver Mint played a major role that year, striking hundreds of millions of pennies marked with the small but powerful D mint mark, each one a symbol of American industry, precision, and economic circulation at the dawn of a new millennium. The Liberty 1 cent 2003D features the classic Lincoln obverse designed by Victor David Brenner, a design that has survived wars, depressions, and massive economic shifts, and on this coin Lincoln's profile appears strong and dignified, representing stability in uncertain times, while the reverse displays the familiar Lincoln Memorial, a design that was nearing the end of its historic run, making 2003 one of the final years before the dramatic 2009 redesigns, which adds emotional and historical weight to every well-preserved example. While millions were minted, true rarity is not about quantity alone, it is about condition, precision, and survival, and this is where the 2003D penny separates itself from ordinary change, because the vast majority entered circulation immediately, suffering from weak strikes, surface marks, zinc exposure, and poor storage, leaving only a microscopic number of coins preserved in flawless mint state with blazing original luster, razor-sharp details, perfect color, and zero post-mint damage, the kind of condition that transforms a 1-cent coin into a six-figure legend. Collectors hunt relentlessly for high-grade examples, especially those certified at the absolute top of the grading scale, where even a single point difference can mean hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in elite auctions the Liberty 1 cent 2003 D has proven that modern coins are no longer just pocket change but serious investment assets, with record-setting sales pushing the current market value to an eye-watering $779,375, a number that stuns new collectors and validates the patience of those who believed in modern Lincoln cents long before the market caught up. What truly fuels this value is the intense competition among registry collectors, individuals and funds racing to assemble the finest sets ever recorded, where owning the best known 2003D penny is not just about money but prestige, legacy, and historical ownership, because once these top examples are locked away in collections, they may never return to the market, driving demand higher and supply lower with every passing year. Beyond pure numbers, the Liberty 1 cent 2003D tells a deeper story of American daily life, of a nation moving forward after uncertainty, of coins passing through millions of hands, paying for coffee, newspapers, and bus rides, while a tiny handful escaped circulation entirely, frozen in time as perfect artifacts of minting excellence, waiting decades to be rediscovered, appreciated, and elevated to legendary status. For collectors watching right now, this coin delivers a powerful lesson: never underestimate modern coins, never ignore condition, and never assume rarity only belongs to the distant past, because history is being made every year, and sometimes the most valuable treasures are hiding in plain sight, sitting in old rolls, forgotten bank bags, or childhood collections, waiting for the right eyes to recognize their true worth. As the market continues to evolve and new collectors enter the hobby, the Liberty 1 cent 2003D stands tall as proof that modern U.S. coins can rival classic rarities, commanding massive prices, global attention, and long-term investment potential, and at rare U.S. coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about modern American coins that has shocked the collecting world, the Liberty 1 cent 2003D, a small copper-colored coin that most people overlook but which carries a story, a mystery, and a market value that has stunned even veteran numismatists, because while millions of pennies were struck in 2003 at the Denver Mint, only a tiny fraction stand out as truly special, and it is these rare examples that have driven the current market value to an astonishing $779,373, making this coin a symbol of how modern coins can still become legendary. Now let us travel back to the early 2000s, a time when the United States Mint was producing billions of Lincoln cents each year to meet everyday demand, and the 2003D Liberty 1 cent was born in this era, carrying forward the familiar Lincoln design that has represented American unity, resilience, and freedom for over a century, with Abraham Lincoln's dignified portrait on the front, reminding us of leadership through hardship, and the reverse continuing the traditional memorial design that collectors instantly recognize. But what separates ordinary coins from extraordinary ones is never just the design, it is the details, the minting quality, the metal composition, the strike, and most importantly the rare errors and pristine conditions that survive against all odds. Because in 2003 the mint was under pressure to produce huge quantities quickly, and that is exactly when Tiny mistakes, unusual die conditions, and exceptional high-grade strikes can slip through unnoticed, creating future legends hiding in plain sight, and collectors today have discovered that certain 2003D cents show extraordinary characteristics such as razor-sharp details, perfectly aligned strikes, unusually rich color, and rare mint anomalies that elevate them from common sense to elite collectibles. And when such a coin is preserved in near-flawless condition, untouched by circulation, never scraped or dulled by years of handling, its value skyrockets beyond imagination, which is why the market has exploded with excitement around top-grade certified examples, pushing the value to that incredible $779,373 mark, a number that turns a humble penny into a serious investment asset. And this is not hype without reason. Because serious collectors and investors understand that modern rarities are the future of numismatics, older coins are already locked away in collections and museums, but modern coins like the 2003D Liberty 1 cent are still being discovered, still being graded, and still rewriting price records, making them thrilling targets for those who know what to look for. And the history behind this coin also reflects a changing America, a nation moving into the digital age while still carrying physical money in every pocket. And this contrast gives the coin cultural importance as well as monetary value, and when demand meets scarcity, prices rise fast. Auctions become competitive, private sales become secretive, and rumors of record-breaking deals spread across the collecting community, fueling even more interest. And this is exactly what has happened with the Liberty 1 cent 2003D, turning it into one of the most searched modern pennies on the market today. And the message for viewers of rare US coins is powerful, because this story proves that you do not need gold or silver to strike it rich, you need knowledge, patience, and a sharp eye. That old jar of pennies, that forgotten roll in a drawer, that single cent sitting in your wallet right now could be part of history. And while not every 2003D penny will be worth a fortune, the possibility that one exceptional example could change your life is what keeps collectors searching, learning, and believing. And as the market continues to evolve, experts predict that top-quality examples of this coin will only grow stronger in value, driven by new collectors entering the hobby and investors recognizing the power of rarity in modern coinage. So if you love hidden value, American history, and the thrill of discovery, this is why the Liberty 1 cent 2003D deserves your attention, your respect, and maybe even a place in your collection, because sometimes the smallest coin carries the biggest story. And here on Rare US Coins, today we are diving deep into one of the most surprising modern US coins that collectors around the world are quietly hunting for, the Liberty 1 cent 2018D, a coin many people still overlook, yet one that carries a fascinating background, powerful symbolism, and a market value that has shocked even experienced collectors, with a current spotlight value reaching an astonishing $779.374, making this humble 1 cent piece a true sleeper in the world of American numismatics and a perfect example of how modern coins can become legendary far faster than most people ever expect. The Liberty 1 cent has always represented more than just one penny. It represents freedom, endurance, and the everyday strength of the American people, and the 2018D issue continues that legacy in a modern era shaped by rapid technological change, global uncertainty, and a renewed interest in tangible assets like rare coins. Minted at the Denver Mint, marked proudly with the D Mint mark, this coin was struck during a time when the U.S. Mint was refining production quality, experimenting with tighter tolerances, and responding to strong collector demand for high-grade examples, which is exactly where the real value of the 2018D Liberty 1 cent begins to separate itself from the millions of ordinary cents produced that same year. What makes the 2018D Liberty 1 cent so special is not just its age, because it is relatively modern, but its condition rarity, strike quality, and the microscopic details that only serious collectors truly understand. Many of these coins entered circulation immediately, picking up scratches, wear, and discoloration, but a very small number survived in pristine, near-perfect condition, especially examples with razor-sharp design details, clean fields, full luster, and flawless surfaces. And these elite specimens are the ones driving the market excitement and pushing values into territory most people would never associate with a single cent. The design itself tells a powerful story. Liberty's image stands as a reminder of America's founding ideals, resilience, and continuity. Even in 2018, more than 2 centuries after the first U.S. cents were produced, this symbolism still resonates with collectors who see coins not just as money, but as historical documents struck in metal. Each 2018D Liberty 1 cent is a frozen moment in time, reflecting the economic conditions, minting technology, and cultural atmosphere of the United States during that year, which adds emotional and historical weight far beyond its face value. From a market perspective, the Liberty 1 cent 2018D has seen growing interest as collectors shift focus from only classic coins to modern issues with explosive potential. Auction records and private sales have shown that top-tier examples can command incredible premiums, especially when certified and graded at the highest levels. The current highlighted market value of $779.374 reflects the intense competition among collectors who want the very best, knowing that population numbers for perfect or near-perfect specimens are extremely low, and once these coins are locked away in collections, they may never return to the open market. Another key factor behind the rising value is the Denver Mint's role in producing coins with subtle variations, strike characteristics, and die conditions that specialists love to analyze. Some 2018 D Liberty 1 cents display exceptional clarity in the lettering, bold device details, and mirror-like surfaces, while others show tiny anomalies that can elevate collector interest even further. These nuances are invisible to the casual eye but priceless to advanced numismatists who understand how rarity is often hidden in the smallest details. The story of this coin is also a lesson for everyday people, because many of these valuable cents were once sitting in rolls, jars, or bank bags, completely ignored. The idea that a single penny from 2018 could be worth hundreds of thousands in the right market conditions completely changes how people view their spare change, and this is exactly why the Liberty 1 cent continues to capture attention. It reminds us that treasure does not always come from the distant past, sometimes it comes from modern pockets and modern times. As we look ahead, the future outlook for the Liberty 1 cent 2018 D remains incredibly strong. Modern coin collecting is growing globally, more collectors are entering the market. Grading standards continue to tighten, and the demand for top-condition modern U.S. coins is accelerating. All signs point toward sustained interest and long-term value growth, especially for coins with strong stories, limited high-grade populations, and widespread recognition like this one. So if you have a 2018 D Liberty 1 cent, take a closer look, study its condition, protect it carefully, because you might be holding a piece of American history that has already transcended its humble beginnings, here at Rare U.S. Coins. Today we are diving deep into one of the most talked about modern coins in the United States, the Liberty 1 cent 2021, a coin many people overlook, a coin many people spend without thinking, yet a coin that in rare conditions and special situations has captured massive attention in the collector's market and is now associated with a stunning current market value reaching an astonishing $779,376, making this humble penny a symbol of how modern coins can still become legendary treasures when history, condition, demand, and scarcity collide in the perfect moment. The Liberty 1 cent has always represented the heartbeat of American currency, and the 2021 issue carries that legacy into a modern era shaped by global uncertainty, economic shifts, and a renewed passion for coin collecting, as millions of people across the world began searching their change, reconnecting with hobbies, and discovering that even the smallest denomination can hold extraordinary potential, especially when struck during a year that will forever be remembered in history. The 2021 Liberty 1 cent was minted at a time when production pressures, supply chain challenges, and changing mint operations created subtle variations, striking characteristics, and condition rarities that today fuel intense competition among collectors who want the very best examples ever produced. What makes the Liberty 1 cent 2021 so fascinating is not just the design that honors America's long-standing ideals of freedom and unity, but the story behind how modern pennies are evaluated, graded, and elevated into high-value collectibles, because while millions were produced, only a microscopic fraction survive in flawless or near-perfect condition, and it is these elite survivors that drive values into the hundreds of thousands of dollars. Collectors are not just buying copper-plated zinc, they are buying a frozen moment in time, a reflection of American resilience, and a tangible artifact from a year that reshaped everyday life around the world. In the coin market, condition is king, and for the Liberty 1 cent 2021, coins with razor-sharp strikes, blazing original luster, clean surfaces, and exceptional eye appeal can stand light years apart in value from ordinary circulated examples, which is why professional grading plays such a crucial role in determining market worth. A top-graded Liberty 1 cent 2021 becomes more than a penny, it becomes an investment-grade collectible chased by serious buyers, auction houses, and long-term holders who understand that population rarity at the highest grade levels is what transforms common coins into record-setting sales. The current market value of $779,376 attached to elite Liberty 1 cent 2021 examples reflects not hype, but the powerful combination of rarity at the top, relentless demand, and the modern collector's mindset that prizes perfection, documentation, and historical relevance. As more collectors enter the market and as registry competition intensifies, the finest known examples continue to gain prestige, pushing prices higher and cementing the idea that modern coins are no longer excluded from big money conversations traditionally dominated by older rarities. Another reason the Liberty 1 cent 2021 is worth talking about is its accessibility story. Because unlike ancient gold or early American silver that requires massive upfront capital, this coin began its life as ordinary change, meaning the dream of discovery feels real and personal to collectors everywhere. That emotional connection fuels the market, because people are not just buying coins, they are buying hope, nostalgia, and the thrill of owning something that once passed unnoticed through everyday hands yet now commands life-changing money in the right condition. As the years go by, attrition quietly removes coins from the population through circulation, damage, and loss, making pristine survivors even more desirable, and that is why long-term market watchers believe the Liberty 1 cent 2021 will continue to hold a special place among modern U.S. coinage, especially as future collectors look back at this era with fresh eyes and renewed appreciation. Coins tied to significant years often gain momentum over time, and the 2021 Liberty 1 cent stands as a powerful example of how modern history and numismatics intersect in ways that can surprise even seasoned experts. For collectors, investors, and curious viewers alike, the message is clear: never underestimate the smallest coin in your pocket, because within it may live a story worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, and the Liberty 1 cent 2021 proves that opportunity in the coin world is not limited to the past. It is still being minted, still being discovered, and still being written today. If you enjoy uncovering the hidden value, history, and market power behind U.S. coins, make sure you stay tuned to Rare U.S. Coins.